I still remember the exact tone my boss used when he said it. Not angry. Not loud. Just confident, the kind of confidence that comes from knowing the room belongs to you. We were sitting in the glass conference room on the 18th floor, the one with the skyline view that the company loved showing to clients. The quarterly review meeting had already gone long. Charts were on the screen. Numbers I had built myself. Projections I had defended for 3 straight years. That's when he leaned back in his chair, folded his hands, and smiled. This project would take only half the time if my son handled it. The room went quiet. Not shocked quiet, uncomfortable quiet. I didn't look at him immediately. I didn't need to. I already knew who he was targeting. I'd been the quiet one in that room for years. The one who fixed broken timelines. The one who stayed late when deals were about to collapse. The one clients asked for by name but never saw promoted. I slowly closed my laptop. For 7 years, I had been the backbone of the department. Not officially. Not in any document. But in reality. I trained half the team. I cleaned up mistakes I didn't make. I took responsibility when others disappeared. His son, meanwhile, had interned for 2 summers. Showed up late. Left early. Asked basic questions in meetings and then took credit when answers came from others. My boss continued, casually. He's got fresh ideas. Energy. You know how it is. New generation. A few people nodded. Not because they agreed, but because they were afraid. I felt something settle inside me. Not anger. Not sadness. Clarity. I reached into my bag and pulled out a single white envelope. I understand, I said calmly. He raised an eyebrow. You do? I placed the envelope on the table and slid it forward. This is my resignation letter. His smile froze just for half a second. Long enough for me to catch it. Someone coughed. Someone else shifted in their seat. You're resigning? He asked, trying to laugh it off. Yes. He glanced around the room, then back at me. That's dramatic, don't you think? We're just talking about project allocation. I looked him straight in the eyes. You already allocated it. He scoffed. Fine. Done. Give the project to my son. Then he turned away from me, as if I was already irrelevant. That's when the founder spoke. The founder rarely attended these meetings. When he did, everyone listened. He had built the company from a rented garage to a multinational firm. Quiet. Observant. Dangerous when crossed. He hadn't said a word until now. Done, the founder said calmly. Give the project to your son. My boss relaxed instantly. Victory tasted sweet on his face. Then the founder turned to me. Meet me in 10 minutes, he said. Bring that resignation letter with you. The room went silent again, but this time, it was different. I nodded. Of course. As I walked out, I felt eyes on my back. Pity. Confusion. Curiosity. No one followed me. No one asked where I was going. They assumed I was finished. They were wrong. I didn't rush to the founder's office. That alone surprised a few people. Most employees, when summoned like that, either panic or try to rehearse speeches in their head. I didn't do either. I walked calmly down the corridor, past framed awards that my team's work had earned, past photos from conferences where my boss smiled for cameras while I stood just outside the frame. 10 minutes later, I knocked. Come in. The founder's office was nothing like my boss's. No flashy furniture. No motivational quotes. Just a large wooden desk, a window, and silence that felt intentional. He gestured to the chair across from him. I sat. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he opened my resignation letter and read it slowly, line by line, as if every word mattered. You know, he finally said, most people resign emotionally. Yours is precise. I believe clarity saves time, I replied. A faint smile crossed his face. Tell me something, he said. How long have you been covering for your manager? I didn't answer right away. 7 years, I said eventually. Officially? Never. Practically? Since the day he stopped reading reports. He leaned back. That's what I thought. He reached into a drawer and placed a folder on the desk. Thick. Organized. Tabbed. This, he said, tapping it, is an internal audit I started 6 months ago. Not financial. Structural. My pulse quickened but my face didn't change. I wanted to know why certain departments thrive despite poor leadership metrics. Your department was interesting. He slid the folder toward me. Inside were charts. Emails. Timestamps. Client correspondence. Performance logs. My work. Every late-night fix. Every crisis resolved quietly. Every time I stepped in when my boss vanished, all documented. You built this department, he said calmly. Not him. I closed the folder carefully. Then why let him give the project to his son? I asked. The founder's eyes sharpened. Because people reveal their true character when they think they've already won. He paused. Tell me, do you still want to resign? I considered the question honestly. No, I said. I wanted accountability. He nodded once. Good. At that moment, my phone buzzed. A message from a colleague. They gave the project to his son. He's already setting deadlines. He has no idea what he's doing. I didn't reply. The founder stood up. Let's take a walk. We exited his office together. Heads turned. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. My boss noticed us instantly. His confident smile flickered. The founder spoke loudly enough for the room to hear. I'd like everyone back in the conference room. The atmosphere shifted. When we re-entered, my boss straightened his jacket. His son sat proudly at the table, laptop open, pretending confidence. The founder didn't sit. Before we proceed, he said, I'd like to clarify something. He looked directly at my boss. Why did you recommend your son for this project? My boss laughed nervously. He's capable. Efficient. You said yourself. I didn't, the founder interrupted calmly. Silence. You said the project would take half the time if your son handled it, the founder continued. On what basis? My boss hesitated. Well, potential. Leadership development. Family legacy. The founder raised a hand. Interesting. Because according to our records, your son has never completed a full project here. Never led a client call. Never delivered under pressure. He turned to the room. Would anyone disagree? No one spoke. The founder then looked at me. Would you mind explaining how long this project normally takes and why? I stood. Not emotionally. Not dramatically. Factually. I explained the complexity. The risks. The dependencies. The reason timelines couldn't be rushed without consequences. I referenced data I had prepared months ago. The founder nodded along. Then he turned back to my boss. Now tell me, he said softly, how long do you think it would take your son? The son shifted in his chair. My boss swallowed. I believe. The founder cut him off. We'll find out. He looked at the son. You're in charge, he said. Starting now. Full responsibility. Relief flashed across my boss's face. Then the founder added. And since you're leading it, you'll be accountable for every delay, every cost overrun, and every client complaint personally. The room froze. The son opened his mouth, then closed it. "And one more thing," the founder said. He picked up my resignation letter. "This resignation is not accepted." My boss looked confused. "But..." "Because," the founder continued, "it's yours." He slid the letter across the table to my boss. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was devastating. No one moved. My boss stared at the resignation letter in front of him as if it had turned into something alive. His son looked from the paper to his father, confusion finally cracking his earlier confidence. "That's not funny," my boss said weakly. The founder didn't smile. "I agree," he replied. "This isn't funny. This is overdue." He turned to the rest of the room. "For years, this company rewarded titles instead of results. Today, that stops." He pressed a button on the conference table. The screen behind him lit up. Emails appeared. Timelines. Missed approvals. Delays that had been blamed on teams now clearly traced back to one desk. My boss's desk. The founder spoke calmly, but every word landed like weight. Client escalations ignored. Reports altered. Credit reassigned. Decisions delegated without authority. Then he paused. And yet, the department kept outperforming projections. He turned toward me. Because someone else was quietly doing the work. The room felt smaller. My boss stood abruptly. "This is absurd. You can't just..." "You're right," the founder interrupted. "I can't just fire you." He looked toward the door. "That's why legal is already waiting." Two people stepped inside, HR and corporate counsel. My boss's face drained of color. Effective immediately, the founder continued, "You are suspended pending termination for breach of fiduciary duty, nepotism, and falsification of internal performance data." His son stood up. "Wait, this isn't fair." The founder looked at him. "You're right," he said evenly. "It isn't." Then he added, "Which is why you're no longer part of this project either." The son's mouth opened, but no words came out. The founder turned back to me. "You didn't ask for revenge," he said. "You asked for accountability." He reached into his jacket and placed a new folder on the table. "Here it is." Inside was an appointment letter. Interim Director. Full authority. Direct reporting line to the board. The room erupted not in applause, but in something quieter. Respect. Relief. Recognition. I didn't smile. Not yet. Over the next weeks, the truth unraveled faster than anyone expected. Clients requested meetings specifically with me. They weren't angry. They were relieved. "I thought we were dealing with incompetence," one said. "Turns out we were dealing with absence." Deadlines stabilized. Costs normalized. Confidence returned. Meanwhile, my former boss tried to fight the termination. The audit didn't just end his role. It ended his career. His son left quietly. No farewell email. No LinkedIn announcement. Just gone. One afternoon, as I stayed late reviewing final milestones, the founder stopped by my office. "You know," he said, "most people would have exposed him loudly." I looked up. "That wouldn't have changed the system." He nodded. "Exactly." Months later, the board made it official. Director. Permanent. On the day the announcement went out, I received one last message. From my former boss. No accusations. No anger. Just 4 words. "You planned this." I didn't reply. Because the truth was simpler. I didn't plan revenge. I planned survival. And when the system finally looked closely enough, survival looked exactly like leadership.